Inclusion is the theme of this year's 6th Annual Hispanic Leadership Summit. We learn how this event is helping to foster Hispanic participation in many areas, including this year's presidential election. And we hear how one man's story of survival has saved his life in more ways than one. It's all here on the next Latino Motion. Join us.
Choose quality, value, distinction. Choose Stockton.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation, and Stockton University. This edition of Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is brought to you by the HD Studios at the campus of Stockton University. Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, healthcare you can believe in. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas. Welcome to Latino Motion, a weekly interview show highlighting issues impacting New Jersey's Latino community while advancing understanding of Latino cultural heritage and contributions to our society. And here is your host, Bert Lopez.
Buenos dias and welcome to Latino Motion. Hispanics in New Jersey are nearly 20% of the state's total population and account for over 645,000 eligible voters in New Jersey. With that backdrop, the New Jersey Hispanic Leadership Association is hosting its 6th Annual Hispanic Leadership Summit, and joining me to discuss what this is all about are Orlando Rivera and Jonathan Diego. Gentlemen, welcome to Latino Motion.
Thank you so much.
Bert, thanks for having us.
So 6 years, very successful event, Hispanic Leadership Summit. Tell me a little bit about the history.
Well, when we started 6 years ago, it was founded by Angel Fuentes, who was formerly a state assembly, and it was his brainchild. The event was a big success, and we later formalized into a 501c3. Of course, as you mentioned, we're in our 6th year now and growing. So this year will be held at Rowan University on Saturday, October 29th. It's an all-day event, including a gala in the evening. And we're here, of course, to talk a little more about it, and we're happy to spread the word.
Let's talk a little bit about the purpose. What's the real purpose of this event?
The nucleus, the genesis of the Hispanic Leadership Summit is to try to ensure that there's inclusion for all Hispanics in New Jersey and the greater New Jersey region. As Orlando had stated previously, or we had discussed previously, Eastern Pennsylvania, Northern Delaware, even New York City region, we have representatives from grassroots, elected officials, professionals, public sector individuals, and young people, high school students and college students. What we want to do is try to ensure that the next generation of Hispanic leaders have an opportunity to learn and possibly have mentors from established individuals in the community.
And you mentioned that you bring the leaders together, but it's not just necessarily leaders in powerful positions, right? You also have a professionals, you have teachers, you have educators, you have professionals that come to this event as well, correct?
Absolutely.
Now let's talk a little bit about the theme for this year. You mentioned one of the original purposes of doing this was the fact that you wanted to include Latinos. You wanted to have that inclusion, and in fact, the theme of this year is State of Inclusion. Bridges to diversity. And this kind of takes on a new meaning this time of year with the upcoming election. Tell me a little bit about this theme.
Well, look, in 2016, we have the presidential election. And for the last year or so, we've been seeing some heated rhetoric on TV and within media. We've been looking at the tensions growing within the African American community and law enforcement. And so we wanted to focus on that and try to bring it together. So that's why we created the theme, State of Inclusion, Bridges to Diversity.
And again, this is a nonprofit, so it's not you're nonpartisan, so to speak here, but you want to educate the community of what some of the important issues are, correct?
Absolutely.
Now, there is a number of events that are taking place, and again, the date is October the 29th. This is open to everyone, not just leaders. So
you don't have to be Hispanic, you don't have to be a leader, right? We're all future leaders, and that's what we're trying to cultivate.
Now, there's also a role for students here as well.
Absolutely.
Tell me a little bit about that.
High school students and college students are some of the major focuses of our summit. For the past 6 years, or coming up on our 6th year, we wanted to make sure that there are seminars specifically tailored for high school students and also focused on the needs of college students. And in fact, one of the things that we make sure to try to do every year is to have scholarships for South Jersey, North Jersey, Eastern Pennsylvania high school students that are going to Rowan University. And that's one of the things that we really enjoy doing. It's one of the highlights, at least for me, from our summit, to make sure that these high school students going into Rowan have scholarship opportunities.
So you single out the high school students as well.
Yes, absolutely. So we even go as far as young as high school students. We have students coming far from Camden City and Pensacola on the East Coast, all the way to the shore of Jersey. They come out and we sponsor them with with their attendance. The college students, of course, we're fundraising for them and we're helping with scholarships for them as well.
So I understand there's 2 workshops. This may be all one workshop, but it's democracy at a crossroads and also college life. So those are the kind of information you're going to be providing to these students.
That's correct. For the high school students, we want to prepare them for what college life would be like if they decide to go on to college. And so one of our seminars will be dealing specifically with, one of our panel discussions will be dealing with what high school students should expect when they go to college. And then as far as the college students are concerned, we want to make sure that the college students that are already there at Rowan University or any college university have the tools necessary to achieve the success, realize their potential.
And how great it is to bring those young, impressionable high school students to meet with all these professionals at a summit. I think that's a great encouragement for them to go on and pursue a college career.
It motivates us. It's exciting, actually, when Jonathan and I and other leaders in the Hispanic Leadership Association of New Jersey are meeting these young people. Some of them come out with business cards. They're prepared. They're prepared to network, prepared to connect, and to stay in touch and follow through. So we have some exciting leaders coming up in the ranks.
And you have a bunch of workshops, obviously very timely, and we want to go through and cover a lot of them. There's also a gala with this event. So it's an all-day event, and then around 6 o'clock, 6:15, there's a gala. Tell me a little bit about that, and we'll get in depth a little more in the next segment.
Sure. In regards to the start of the day, by 8 o'clock, we want people to be there, register, or at least applying or registering, having the breakfast, the continental breakfast that we set up. But by the evening time, around 6:30, we're going to have a red carpet photographing opportunity, access to Angel Fuentes and the members of the Hispanic Leadership Board for question and answers, just informally. And then we go right into the gala. And I believe that Orlando would probably be in a better position to say what's going to be happening this year with the gala.
Yeah, actually, we're gonna take a quick break because we want to go into a little more in depth about the gala and the workshops.
Sure.
So hold on for a second and stay tuned. We'll be right back with more Latino Motion.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation. Join us online at www.latinomotion.tv. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We encourage your comments and contributions for show topics.
Welcome back to Latino Motion. We'll continue with our discussion of the mega Hispanic event taking place at Rowan University at October the 29th with my guests, Orlando Rivera and Jonathan Diego. And this event, again, taking place on the 29th at Rowan University, is called the Hispanic Leadership Summit. And we were talking about a variety of things that are taking place, including the gala. Let's finish off with the gala. Tell me a little bit about the gala.
So as Jonathan mentioned, the gala starts at around 6:15 with opening reception, cocktails, networking, and such. We'll be highlighting and celebrating at least 14 or so leaders within different communities. So we have a faith-based leader, we have leaders in the law enforcement area, just in public office. When that's done around 9 o'clock, we'll have celebration with music, live performance by Giselle Tavera, who will be performing bachata. And we have some new hit singles coming from an album called Hip to Pop with Living Life.
So
and
we have a little bit of entertainment,
a lot of
which is a
entertainment.
great thing. And some of these honorees, I mean, someone like Senator Nisa Cruz Perez, but we also have a business owner from Pleasantville, Jose and Martha Marin, recognized for their contributions to the community. So it's a well-rounded round of honorees that we're honoring this year.
Very many notables. We have Iris Delgado, who's going to be the mistress of ceremonies for the gala. She's a news reporter with Telemundo 62, and many more, of course, the keynote speaker.
Oh, let's go back to the beginning of the day. And after the opening ceremonies, one of the first things is a symposium. Tell me a little bit about that event.
During the symposium, we'll have 3 panelists, and these individuals will be discussing their perspectives about the upcoming presidential election, and specifically the state of Latino affairs in New Jersey and the greater New Jersey region, and what can we specifically do as a community to become more involved in elections, whether it be the presidential election or our own local elections.
Let's go through and talk about some of these workshops, and I believe one of them was New Jersey bail reform.
Correct. Coming in January of 2017, the new statutes, new rules, court rules also dealing with bail schedules. Typically, too many individuals, especially individuals that do not have a lot of money, and unfortunately a large portion of individuals that are held pre-trial in county jails are Latinos and Latinas who are not able to make the bail. They end up losing their jobs. They end up being away from their families. These individuals end up being separated from medications, and really they end up getting pushed to take bad plea deals because they're stuck in the county jail.
Something that's even been talked about during the presidential election.
Correct.
Let's talk, another one of the workshops is municipal IDs that we're going to be talking about. Some municipalities are providing IDs, and that's good news for undocumented individuals here. Let's talk a little more about one other important workshop is the National Puerto Rican Agenda.
Absolutely, and I too, before I even get into that, there's 8 different workshops. Too many, of course, for us to talk about here, and I'd like to have the viewers visit the website, HispanicLeadershipNJ.com, whenever they have a chance. But as you mentioned, one of the other workshops is on the topic of U.S. legislation, Promesa, talking about the status of Puerto Rico as a statehood. And when you look at the numbers, there's more Puerto Ricans in the U.S. and the mainland than there is on Puerto Rico. And there's a lot of things going on, of course, in Puerto Rico. About 10% of the population have actually flew to the U.S. in the last 10 years or so. There's a lot of things going on. So it's going to be moderated by Juan Gonzalez, who's a former president of the Puerto Rican Parade in Camden City and also a radio personality. So that's one that's an exciting one for a lot of those who are interested in that topic.
And I know you're heading up one this crowdfunding. Tell me a little bit about
Absolutely.
that.
So I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and I love the topics for entrepreneurs. So the crowdfunding is an interesting one. So the idea that your local community can support a business startup. When someone has an idea that needs to be supported, you can do that through different websites like Indiegogo, Kickstarter, and such. Well, thanks to legislation in New Jersey with Angel Fuentes and Nisa Cruz Perez in the state of New Jersey, we're now able to do that in the state. Apparently, you have to do that in each state. So now we have
more of the details on that particular workshop. One very popular workshop is the Woman Empowerment, and that seems to get everybody. It's an important workshop. And another one is this year that's brand new is cyber threats.
Correct. And that's not just cyber threats dealing with government, our government computer systems or emails. We're talking about our own home Wi-Fi, making sure
everyone's a threat, and,
exactly,
and also healthcare inclusion that I'm heading up that workshop as well. But let's just give once again the information on how someone could register for these workshops and this event.
We encourage people to register online at HispanicLeadershipNJ.com, and they'll get all the information that they need in regards to all of these panel discussions, the entire day event from 8 o'clock in the morning till 11 o'clock at night. It's a great event.
Well, it's a lot of material to cover. Thank you for coming on the show to discuss this, and hope to see you all at that event. But stay tuned. We have more Latino Motion to come. Just a moment.
Latino Motion with Bert Lopez is presented by Latino Motion Public Affairs Media, a New Jersey nonprofit corporation. Join us online at www.latinomotion.tv. Find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We encourage your comments and contributions for show topics.
Many of us have experienced some sort of life-altering experience, and for my next guest, that personal journey has led him to become a writer, a stronger family man with a new respect for life. Joining me is Justo Lopez Jr. He is the author of the book, Ray of Hope. Justo, welcome to Latino Motion.
Gracias por tenerme.
And Justo, we're not related, but it's good to meet another Lopez, and you were inspired to write a book about a personal experience you had. Tell me a little bit about that experience.
Well, I went fishing back in October 15, 2005 with a couple friends just to go out have fun. And our boat sank. I was lost in the ocean for 8.5 hours. The journey began out of Fortescue, New Jersey. We went out there just to have fun, you know, like everybody does. They go out there to fish and have a good time. But then tragedy struck, and we were lost in the ocean. It was 3 of us, me, John Cortez, and Keith Dunn, may he rest in peace.
So the three of you, and all 3 of you did make it.
We did make it, yes.
Your partner later died of a heart attack.
Of a heart attack,
but,
yes.
Let's talk about what happened that day and what you were going through.
Well, when the boat sank, the only thoughts on my mind were my family and my girlfriend at the time, which later on I married. There's a little funny story about how I got married to her. It was like 11:45, and she always asked me, "What's wrong? I'm not good enough to marry?" And that always stood in my head. So that day I decided I was going to ask her to marry me, and it was 11:45, and 15 minutes later the boat sank. So I guess the good Lord let me live so I could fulfill my promise to marry my wife now.
So obviously that was a very trying time, loss at sea. For that period of time, a lot of things were going through your mind. Tell me, I know you had, you were fortunate enough to get a life vest, weren't you?
I was, when I jumped into the boat started sinking at a rapid pace. So John Cortez was able to pull out 3 life vests and throw them into the water before the boat sank completely. And I had the misfortune of getting the vest that was made for a little kid. So it didn't zipper up and it didn't clap together, so I had to hold it like this for 8.5 hours and swim for my life. So anyway, we all 3 gathered together, and I had to tell John and Keith to leave because at least their vests were made for adults. So we got into a big argument, but they were able to take off, and I was left out there for 8.5 hours until I got rescued later on in the evening.
So obviously they went swimming to shore.
Yes.
You were about 5 miles away?
5 miles away into the bay, Delaware Bay.
So tell me what your thoughts were the first hour.
I was just in shock, asking God, how come, why me? Why is this happening? And then I thought about my family. I just had a brand new grandson. And I thought about my daughters, Jessica and Julie. And my oldest daughter at that time, me and her were not communicating. And I was just like wishing God to let me live so I could talk to my daughter and we could establish a new relationship and, you know, grow old together because I love my kids.
And this was October?
October 15th.
So it's almost 11 years ago. And
yes.
So the water temperature wasn't all that warm. That must have had an impact on you as well.
Yes. I was, actually I had like about 3 pair of pants on, pajamas, a couple of T-shirts, hoodies. But it was so cold that I just felt numb, but I had the adrenaline going, so my body just kept moving. I just kept moving for 8.5 hours. I ended up with black eyes because I kept punching myself in the face, so the hypothermia wouldn't kick in.
So you had a real struggle.
It was a battle.
Yeah.
It was. I don't wish this on nobody.
So not only the cold, the waves, obviously, and
The hypothermia. I was trying to sleep on the water. I also was able to grasp on a pole that was sticking out of the middle of the ocean because there's a place called the Sticks out in Fortescue. So I was able to hold on to one of those. And as I was doing that, the waves took me underneath and I cut my leg. And I cut it pretty good. And I remember that sharks can smell blood 3 miles away. So next thing I know,
the sharks.
I see sharks.
Now, obviously, this is a life-altering experience for you. You got married. You improved your relationship with your girls as well.
Yes, yes.
And you find a new respect for life.
I've had nothing but joy for life.
So the book is called A Ray of Hope.
Yes, the Justo Lopez Jr. story.
And it's available
on Amazon.com.
So it's a very interesting story. Thank you for sharing that with our
Thank
audience.
you for having me, Bert. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you for joining us at home once again here on Latino Motion.
Choose quality, value, distinction. Choose Stockton.
Funding for Latino Motion is provided by Atlanticare, healthcare you can believe in. Atlantic City Electric, energy for a changing world. And South Jersey Gas.